I met a gypsy.
And be like, okay, if I'm not where I need to be, how do I get myself there, mentally to that point? So we figured that out this year and made some strides in that category. So that was huge.
Yeah, dude, let's try and break that feeling down, because you're so right, man. But like, that feeling sometimes scares me, because I get that feeling too, dude. Like, we just start fucking killing it with shows on the podcast, and like, downloads are going crazy, and like, everything's rolling, and sponsors are calling, and it's like, you're right. Like, and for me, like, I'm pretty big into jiu-jitsu, so that's like a daily kind of struggle that I put myself through. Like, sometimes you just go and just get fucked up by everybody. Sometimes it's that same thing, like, I walk in there and like, I look in the mirror, there's like a mirror at the end of one of the mats, and I like walk in, you catch a glimpse of yourself, and you're like, damn, you're like a fucking G today, dude. Like, there's some people getting bashed right now. And then that carries all over, and you're walking down the beach and fucking, you've just got like that vibe about you. But that vibe sort of almost scares me sometimes, because I'm like, ooh, this shit, like, ups and downs, like, the higher you are, the lower you can go. So it's like, honestly, it's a weird feeling, dude, to try and like stay in that Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, especially for us too, just because, I mean, we're a motorsport, like, it's not just us. Like, there could be something that happens with the bike, or like something out of your control, and that brings you back down pretty quick, so then you got to figure out how to bounce back from that and just be like, okay, how do I get back to that point? And dude, it is so tough, because this sport, just as soon as you think you got it figured out, it just kicks you in the ass, and you're like, wow, like, I thought I had it figured out, and I definitely did not. So for me, I think the biggest thing was just realizing it, and like I said, being able to snap into that mode, and whatever that was. Like, before the race, I like to be by myself for a second. So whenever I'm in the tunnel, I try to get by myself. I try to replay these things in my head, get me to a point where I feel like I'm ready. Like, no matter what gets thrown my way, I'll be able to handle it. And dude, that was a big thing for me. And everyone has their thing that's a little different. Some people don't have to do anything; they just show up and it's just there. And some people need to work a little harder to get that. But for me, showing up and making sure we were where we need to be every race was huge, man. You can't just have those nights where you're just off. So especially when you're racing against guys that are that good, like Jet, Christian, like all these dudes that are really, really talented, and they keep you on your toes. So I couldn't afford to have those nights that were just horrible. So that was probably the biggest breakthrough I had this year, just as a rider and as a person. And I think that's why I had, the success I had, for sure.
And what's like when you're in the tunnel and you're taking that moment, what's like the self-talk? Are you talking to yourself in your head? Is there like a conversation that's going on, or is it the opposite, where it's like there's no conversation going on and you're just kind of in the moment, and there isn't a lot of thinking going on? Because that stuff is super interesting, because that's honestly like the physicality of you this year versus like you're physically the same sort of dude, like from 26 to 27, there's not a big physical change. I'm sure you were training hard as fuck the whole time. Physically, you're the same dude, the bike's the same, but you ain't winning every race like you were this year, kind of thing, So it's like, what's the conversation that takes place in your head? Because I feel like that's where the changes actually take place.
Yeah, I mean, the upstairs is really everything for us as dirt bike racers, as you see, with even in the 450 class, like dudes with Coop and Ken, and two completely different personalities, and how you get the most out of each one of them is completely different, So for me, like, to get me where I need to be, that conversation is literally just sitting there and just being like, dude, like, how long have you wanted to be in this position? How many times was I sitting on the couch, broken leg, busted up shoulder, whatever, and just being like, damn, like, I would give anything to be on the gate right now, or just to be in a championship hunt. I was just like, that seems so far-fetched so many years ago that I was going to be damned if I let that slip away. At this point, I was like, dude, I'm so close, and I just wanted to be there for so long that it was mainly just living the moment, dude. Like, anytime I tried to think about the future, it would just completely twist anything that I had going. And I'm like, dude, I can't do that. Like, why try to think about stuff that I can't predict anyway? Like, it's motorsports, dude. Like, as soon as you think you're going to, like, everything's going to go a certain way and you're going to have this big plan, it gets blown up in your face every time. So I'm like, dude, let's just live in the moment, enjoy what we're doing, put myself in the best spot I can possibly put myself in and go out there and just do work. And that's literally all I did. And that conversation was pretty much how it went every time. You know, like I would sit there and kind of crouch down and just be like, all right, like this is it. You know, like this is the spot we always wanted to be. I'll be damned if I'm going to let that slip away. Like, let's go enjoy it and go kick ass and have fun. And that's literally all I did every time. So, like, you know, as long as you can keep that kind of mindset, and for me, that's that happy medium, you know, of being like, it kind of reflects a little bit on the past, and you kind of remember some things, and it also makes you so present that you can't think about the future. All you're focused on is the task at hand. And that was the start. And then as soon as you got through the start, it was just putting together the lap. So, man, it was just living in the moment. That's literally the best way I can describe it. And that worked really well for me. I mean, it was just one thing I kept reminding myself over and over and over again. And yeah, it worked pretty damn well.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, GYPSYTales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.